One second. Yes. Oh, if you are listening to this via podcast, make sure to go and hit that subscribe button. For everybody that is tuning in to us on Facebook Live, y'all, we are super glad to have you here. We've already got Gardy on. We've got Lexi on. What is up, Gardy? Jacob, Gardy is definitely somebody I need to get you connected with.
Gardy Garcia?
Yes. Oh, yeah. So you probably already know.
Already done an interview. Did an interview.
That's awesome. I've been on Gardy's show a couple
First interview.
Okay, so your first interview was with Gardy. I mean, that is one interview you cannot go wrong with. I mean, Gardy is fantastic at what he does. He makes it so much fun. I've had the pleasure of going on to a show a couple of different times. So we've got Lexi on here. We've got Kate on here. We've got about 12 people. So for those that are viewing this via Facebook, one thing you have to know about me is I love engagement. So smash that heart button, post questions in the comment section. I'll probably tell you about 1,000 times to go in and comment something. Share this out. If you are ready to learn how to manifest your significant other, your soulmate, you better be ready to take some notes. You better be ready for some super high energy, because I've known Jacob for years now, and he always brings the heat. He's always dropping amazing information, knowledge, wisdom with such love and care. So you really want to make sure that you are taking some notes. For those that are listening to this on the podcast, make sure that you take notes as well. If you're listening to this while you're driving, please drive safe, and then come back and listen to it again, because you'll probably need to listen to this like 10 times, 20 times. Jacob, like 1,000 times maybe. So, but Jacob, for everybody that is listening to this or watching this, why don't you go on and introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about who you are?
Absolutely. So I am so grateful to be on here. Today is the day, and I've known Colton since I was, I think, 18, 19 years old, and he was 16. Yep. And we both were very focused on making an impact in the world from a very young age. And I remember we had a business meeting one time at Panda Express near both of our homes in probably 2013, 2014. Yeah. And I was just like, if there's a 16-year-old right now, this focused, this motivated, this fired up, I am so excited to see what he's going to do with his life. And here we are, probably 5, 6, 7, almost 8 years later.
It's about 8
and
years.
He's leading a huge movement with Today's the Day. He's helping so many entrepreneurs double and triple their business. And I'm now a guest on your show. And it's just so amazing how life, how God, how the universe always make everything work out more beautiful, more perfect, and unimaginable than you could ever fathom. But the dots always connect themselves backwards. And that's exactly what I want to share with everybody on this podcast today about manifesting your soulmate, because all we're doing is living in a constant conversation with life. And if you increase your awareness and increase your presence and increase whatever you're looking for, if you get specific about it, it will absolutely find you. So who am I and what was I looking for? Well, on an entrepreneur side, I've been an entrepreneur since 18 years old, and I've had various different businesses, network marketing, speaking, internet businesses. But just recently, I got married a year and a half ago to my amazing, beautiful wife. If you check out my Facebook or Instagram, there's just nothing but family photos, because I'm in love with my wife and in love with my
There's some great photos. There's some great photos.
Oh man, it's such a joy. We had our first child last December, so she's 7 months old now. And we had something happen for us, because life is always happening for you, not to you. We had something so amazing happen for us that we literally looked back at what had happened in our lives after it all happened, and we just said, oh my gosh. God did something in our lives. God gave us some amazing information. And turns out what we did was my wife and I actually manifested each other. She lives, she's from Toronto, Canada. I'm from Houston, Texas. There was a 1 in a billion chance of us meeting. And we were led down a path of the information that we are now teaching people all over the world, and that's how to manifest their soulmate. And when it happened to us, we were so amazed and so shocked that we said, wow, this could literally be only us and God who created this. We have to share this with the world. But, you know, I'm just so grateful to be on here today with you, Colton. You're somebody that, even though you're younger than me, you inspire me. You're so fired up. You're so motivated. And you just bring such energy and life to everywhere you go, man. So I am completely here to serve and do whatever I can for the Today's the Day community, answer any questions that you have or anybody else has about manifesting their soulmate. I'm here to serve. I've been given to so freely by God, and it's only my greatest privilege to give all of that to as many people as I can.
That's awesome. And I want to kind of backtrack just a little bit to what you were saying. You know, when we first met, right, it was at Panda Express. And I remember this because, I mean, you were dressed to the nines. You had your Apple iPhone headphones in. And at first I was like, is he on the phone? It's like, no. But you were always on the phone. You were always going. You were always on the hustle and always on the grind. And I was like, wow. And I had not seen many young entrepreneurs, because I mean, you were only a couple years older than me, and still, I mean, obviously still are a couple years older than me. And I was like, this is a kid that is out there going out and doing exactly what I want. And so, I mean, you're talking about, you know, and I'm inspiring you. Like, you were one of the few young entrepreneurs that I looked up to, and I was like, that's what I want to be like. That's the impact I want to create. Those are the relationships I want to build. Those are the people that I want to know. So yes, now to have like you on my podcast, and then even here on Facebook Live, right? You know, we've got about 9, 11. We've been having like 16, 20 people chime in. The comment section has been going. People are telling us where they're coming in from. And it's just so cool to see where God has taken us on our journeys of entrepreneurship. Right? You know, you were working with a network marketing company, Organo Gold, and selling all the coffee, and you're still doing that. But it's been so cool to see how you've taken manifesting your soulmate and then turning that into a business as well. And as somebody that was on the outside of watching that happen, you know, it was so, it seemed like it was out of the blue, right? And you were like, hey, I'm getting married. And I was like, you're getting married? What? Like, I didn't know you were dating someone. Like, whoa, like it happened so quick. But when you find your soulmate, it happens quick. And then it's just like, you know. So, and then when I started seeing you post about her and how much you cared about her, and then now your daughter, it's like, that, yeah, no, he like hands down, like there's no questions about it. He manifested his soulmate, and it happened on a very fast basis, which is fantastic. You know, being a part of the Today's Today community, we're always asking the question, what can we do today to not just achieve our success, but to live our dream life, right? You know, yesterday's already gone, tomorrow's uncertain. So what are we doing today to really live in the moment? You know, a lot of people say carpe diem, right? Seize the day. I always like to pose a question afterwards, and it's like, okay, well, what if you actually did, right? And not just in your business, but in every aspect of your life. You know, when we tried to do this podcast the first time, before we had all the technical difficulties and everything, you were talking about, you know, seizing the day and manifesting that, but being a power couple, and how much that has impacted your business and impacted your life. And so I'm really excited to share with everybody that's tuning into this. So if y'all are watching this on Facebook Live, y'all like buckle up. We're gonna get into some really good information about how to manifest your soulmate. So the first question, I guess, Jacob, I know especially a lot of people that are listening to this either on the podcast or watching this via Facebook Live, is where should they start? Right? Where's the best place to start for somebody that's like, I'm ready to manifest my soulmate. I'm ready to have the love of my life laying next to me every single night and wake up every single morning, and they're right there. I get to see their smiling face every single day. I get to make them laugh. I get to fall in love with them every day. Where should those types of people start?
Well, it's so interesting, and thank you for asking that question, because in order to get anywhere, you need to look on the map and go, oh, okay, where am I? I'm right here. So let's go to the best place in the world to start with anything you want to manifest. And it's not the coffee shop. It's not the gym. It's not, you know, go to this country. People are really open to get married there, or your dream person's likely to be there. The first place you need to go is right here.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are on the podcast, you can't see, but I'm pointing to my heart. And I want everyone to just put your hand on your heart for a second and just understand that the same power that keeps my heart beating, the same power that keeps Colton's heart beating, the same power that literally has your heart beating hundreds of thousands of times a day, lives in everything, everywhere, all the time. This is the chamber of your creator. And regardless of what you believe, spiritually, we're all connected. We are all able to, we're basically all drops in the same ocean.
Yeah.
So when you decide internally, I would like to manifest my soulmate, that is the very first step. Most cases when people want to find their dream person, most solutions involve something external or doing something differently on the outside. Mm-hmm. But if you believe that God is love, that love lives in your heart, and that we are all one, then the same creator who made you made every other living thing, which means all of you are connected. If you think about somebody, even if they don't know it, they feel you thinking about them. And if you just close your eyes right now and you feel into your heart, and you can ask yourself, you can say, I want to feel my soulmate. And then you can actually feel them. You can feel their presence at that very moment. You can feel them giving you a hug. You can feel yourself becoming a lot more present, a lot more aware. And even though you've never met this person, or maybe you have, you don't know,
yeah,
they can feel you. Because although you've never seen a face, you've never spoken a word, we are all connected. And when you say, I would like to feel my soulmate, as much as you're thinking about them, as bad as you want to meet them, they want to meet you. When you close your heart, when you close your eyes and you feel your heart, you are connecting with that person regardless of how far they are away.
Yeah.
And if you believe in that, that's the very first step to understand the possibility of I'm stepping out of the arena of competition and into the arena of creation. You know, in the Bible, it says you were made in the image of the Creator. And if you were made in the image of the Creator, then you have creative ability. You have the power to create. So when you connect with your soulmate on a heart level, you already know they exist. Everyone doing this exercise felt something. And the more you focus on that energy, the more you amplify that into your life, the closer you're going to start to draw them. Yeah. But there's two essential steps when it's broken down in its simplest form to manifesting your soulmate. Step one is design exactly every single detail down to the finest point of what you would like to manifest. See, just a few years ago, I found myself in a place where I was living a good life. I was an entrepreneur, you know, I was making good money, I was traveling, I was happy. But every night when I went to bed, the thought was on my mind, where is my soulmate? You know? And after a few relationships that I viewed as failed relationships, it eventually led to me not believing anymore that I could manifest that person. And I just decided to settle for maybe not finding that person, or maybe just, you know, ending up with somebody who I wasn't fully in that mode, in that passion with. But what a lot of people don't talk about is that not every relationship is meant to last forever. Relationships are either a lesson or an example. You know, a lesson of what you don't want to experience again, or an example of something that you might like to enjoy more of in a future relationship. And after a few relationships, I just said, you know what? I'm done messing around. I want to manifest this person.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, but I was just inspired divinely to start writing. And at the end of an hour and a half, I assembled a 51-point list of exactly what I wanted to manifest.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy when you do this, because if you listen to this podcast and you do this tonight, crazy things are going to start to happen in your world. we're leading our first group of people through the Manifesting Your Soulmate experience, where we teach people how to do this. And we've had one person manifest their soulmate within the first 2 weeks, and another person make their list. She's been single for 4 years. She's a little bit older. She's been divorced twice. She made her list. And in the same week, she met a guy and went on basically a date with a guy, an accidental date. They both were in the same place at the same time. They went on a bike ride. Yep. And literally, as she was sitting there on this bike ride, she literally said, this man checked every single box.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you haven't been interested in anybody for 4 years. What are the chances that you make this list and then the same week, this guy appears into your reality?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened to me. I made my list on December 12th, 2017. I met my wife December 14th, 2017.
Yeah.
You got to make that list.
It's so crazy because like we think about it like in the terms of business, right? Like how many people are radically involved with creating like a vision board, right? I mean, finding the minute details of their future cars and houses and travel destinations and exactly what their business numbers need to be. But like when it comes to other aspects of our life, like people aren't being that dedicated to it. Right? You know, when you're thinking about manifesting your soulmate, I don't want just like a mediocre kind of soulmate. Like I want like a soulmate. Like if I'm going to put in hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours into my business, but I won't ever put that in that time and dedication into my relationships, like soulmate and non-soulmate, right? My family relationships, my friend relationships. But I know we're talking about our soulmate here. Like, of course you have to put that kind of dedication. And so, I mean, it just makes sense to create a list of every single thing that you want out of a soulmate, right? And then not one iota am I surprised at all that you're like, yeah, it was this date that I made the list, and then like the next day it was like, boom, they're there.
Yeah.
So that does not surprise me one little bit, because like you said, you have to know, one, where you are, and two, you have to know what you want. And until you know that, how can you ever manifest them, right? So a great question that I would have is, what are some points that people can kind of think about when they're thinking about their soulmate and what they want in a soulmate? Because a lot of people, I mean, the age-old question is, or the age-old excuse is, well, I don't know what I want, right? How do I figure out what I want, right?
That's a great question. So there's a few different categories that you can consider, and I literally wrote down everything. And it's so funny because we're writing our book right now on what we're learning through teaching this course and through going through it ourselves. And I literally went back again last night and looked at my list, and I'm like, damn, she matches everything. It's perfect. It's so crazy. But, you know, depending on what's most important to you, you should write down both what you do want and your non-negotiables.
Yep.
So maybe you can look at maybe a past relationship that you had, and then you can say, you know, what was positive? What did I experience that was positive? And then if you're not in a relationship and you've had previous relationships, there might have been a reason why you're not in a relationship anymore. Maybe it's nobody's fault. It's not to beat yourself up, but it's just to say, there's something better for me.
Yeah.
And life is constantly changing.
Yeah.
The only constant in life is change. And if you can embrace change within yourself, within life, within your partner, within your relationship, and know that it's going to happen and build yourself up to the best of your ability to be prepared for it, nothing is going to be too much for you to handle.
Yeah.
So my point to saying that was, what did you not like about those previous relationships? Put that on your non-negotiables. I went through a list of what do I want mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, in terms of our social life, relationally, I call it relationally, and financially, and then what is our impact together? So it's really important to consider those things, not just the physical, not just the mental, not just the spiritual, emotional, but all those other things too, because love is not enough.
Yeah.
One thing that a lot of people don't know is that we don't just have one soulmate. A lot of people ask the question, Do I have a soulmate? Yes, you do. In fact, everyone has 6 soulmates.
Yeah.
So there might be certain circumstances where you were with somebody who you might have felt like that was my soulmate. But here's the deal. Both people must be willing to grow and work on themselves in order to be together. If one starts growing and the other stops, it's not going to work. It just won't work out. If you want a really quality relationship, growth is going to be required. So what do you want physically? I'm talking, what is their eye color? What is their physical features like? You like somebody who's a little chubbier? Do you like somebody who's, got a little extra weight on them? Do you like somebody who's chiseled? Do you like someone who's lean? Do you want somebody with a nice butt? You want somebody with, really great, clean skin? Do you want somebody who has this kind of hairstyle? Do you want somebody with more masculine features, more feminine features? Just the physical element alone, there's so many details to dive into. The second one is, what are they like mentally? Are they smart? Are you smarter than them? Are you guys on the same level? Do they challenge you? Do they inspire you? Are they disciplined? Are they a little bit more go with the flow? Are they somebody that thinks for themselves? Are they somebody who's a quick decision maker? What are they like emotionally? Are they a little bit more masculine or a little bit more feminine? Are they a little bit more in their body, in their feelings, in their emotions? Or are they a little bit more focused? Let's get it done. Today's the day. Let's go. A little bit more of the masculine. Are they somebody that's in touch with their feelings? Do they have a big open heart? Are they a little bit more hard to get to? All those things are super important, because when you design this person, the second step, which I'll get to in a second, but your part in this is a lot to do with who you're manifesting. The second step in manifesting your soulmate, once you look at this entire list, every single detail, the second question takes a lot longer to figure out. Who must I become in order to attract and keep a beautiful soul like that? What are they like spiritually? Are they open spiritually? Are they of a certain religion? Are they pretty boxed in? Are they open to trying new things? What are they like in social situations? Are they funny? Are they a dancer? Are they the one that kind of people come to them? Are they magnetic? Are they what are their values? Do you share similar values? Because here's what's really important to understand. If you don't have similar values, it'll be very difficult to have a long-term relationship. If one of you is pro-vaccine, one of you is anti-vaccine. If one of you is, hardcore religious and one of you is, really spiritual and going to meditation retreats, really getting specific on what are their values and what are your values is really important. But here's the paradox. Not only do you need to have similar values, but you must have opposite energy. It doesn't matter if it's a heterosexual relationship, a homosexual relationship, any orientation of relationship, any orientation, this works across the board, because in any relationship, there's a masculine and there's a feminine in 90% of cases, and about 10% of relationships are more balanced. But understand, if you want that passion, that fire in your relationship, there's got to be a distance in polarity. There's got to be a masculine and there's got to be a feminine. And you can design this person from head to toe, exactly what they are in every way. What are their finances like? Are they just blowing money like crazy? Are they a free spender? Do they already have a lot of money? Are they somebody that's going to build something with you? Do they complement your strengths? One of the best things about my wife is that we're not only married, we're not only parents, we're not only lovers, we're not only great friends, best friends, but we're business partners. And everything that I completely don't have a clue about, that I could never do without her, she is amazing at. She literally fits like a glove for me. Everything that she'd rather not do, I'm naturally really strong at. So when you meet this person, they have the opportunity to be every single thing you've ever imagined. The only limitation is, what do you believe you can accept and manifest into your life? And the thing is, you are creating this person. When you close your eyes and you feel into your heart and say, who is my soulmate? The reason why you designed them on that paper and you're so attracted to them is because God made them that way to you. Yeah. When you receive inspiration, it doesn't come from your thoughts, it comes from spirit. And spirit is depositing downloads into you of who this person is. You're just becoming aware of it as you write. And when you meet them, you'll know. And when I met Magan, it was so crazy. The very first time we met, we never spoke. We never spoke. Actually, she was in a relationship at the time, and I was in a relationship at the time. Yeah. The second step to manifesting your soulmate is, who do you need to become? And once we met for the first time, there was about a year longer process that we went through where both of us needed to become the person necessary to not just manifest our soulmate, but have a long-lasting love. Yeah. And that's exactly what we did. Literally, the first time we met, we were at a meditation retreat for an entire weekend, and we never spoke. We made eye contact one time in passing. As I was walking this way, she was walking this way, like two boats crossing paths. And we made eye contact for 2 seconds. And it was like I was in a freeze frame. It felt like it was 5 minutes. Yeah. And I looked at her and I was like, I know you. Have you ever met somebody that you just felt like you knew? Yeah. You know, that's something to really pay attention to. And once we came back together, at the end of almost an entire year, we were both single. Boom, we hit it off immediately. And, you know, we can go further into the story if you guys want to, but within 3 months of that day, we were married.
Yeah, no, and that's awesome. And I really like too how you say in the second step is, who do you need to become to attract and keep your soulmate? And I love that, because that ties back into the first portion when you were talking about the growth aspect and how you have to grow. And it's even funnier because, so I've always talked about kind of like 3 areas when it comes to whoever I get into a relationship, right? Not afraid of commitments, not afraid of communication, and not afraid of conflict, right? But all 3 of those areas are areas where we have to be willing to grow in, right? Yeah. And they create growth within us, right? When you have open lines of communication with your significant other, that opens up the area and the space for you to be able to grow. When there's conflict and you're able to do conflict well, which a lot of people don't do, a lot of businesses don't do it, a lot of relationships don't do it, that creates the growth that both individuals need to grow through in order to be better for one another. And I love that you talk about that, because I don't think that's an aspect, because I've heard some other people talk about, you know, getting in a relationship or relationship advice and different things like that. And it's always the external things. It's always the, okay, well, if they didn't fit like this perfectly for you, well, then it's all on them. But it's not, right? So I love that you're like, no, we as individuals, when we're working to manifest our soulmates, we have to grow just as much as the other person does, right? You know, if I stop growing, what happens? I'm dead. If they stop growing, what happens? They're dead. And so we have to be continuously putting ourselves in a place and in a position to be able to grow and to be able to grow closer together. So I love that. And it was really kind of funny too. I love how you said similar values but opposite energies. I think in every single relationship that I've ever seen, that I mean, you just look at them and you're like, that's like movie perfect kind of relationship, right? You're like, all right, where are the cameras? Like, what's going on here? Am I having a rom-com or something like that? But they have those opposite energies, but they have those similar values. Yep. So I love that. I love that. Now, something that I hear really often, and so this is coming from somebody, so I'm 23 years old, right? Now, I have never been in a relationship, as far as a relationship that I would consider a serious relationship, right? Like I dated a couple of girls in high school and then I came out as gay. So I've never been in a relationship with a guy. And a lot of people tell me, it's like, oh, well, you're 23. Well, you should just lower your standards and go get in a relationship. And I'm like,
No.
hell no. That's like the worst piece of advice that I've ever gotten in my entire life. And I always look at them like they're crazy. And I'm like, I'm going to bless your heart. I'm gonna give you the good old Texas bless your heart. But what would you say to somebody that's struggling with lowering their standards, or they hear the lower the standards? Right now, anytime I hear that, it's a firm, easy, hell no. But not everybody's like that, because when you go through relationship after relationship after relationship and you're struggling to find that soulmate, you know, it's very easy to think, well, maybe I should just lower my standards. Maybe my standards are too high. So what would you say to that?
So there's definitely a process to manifesting your soulmate. And one of the steps, actually step 3 in the process, we have 8 steps that we take people through, but the third step is, you know, getting some experience in the dating world.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who's 24 years old. He'd never been in a relationship ever. And he started this course and he was just like, man, I just feel so inexperienced. Yeah. And I was like, well, you know, you're not, you know, you're a solid guy. And all you need to do is just go on a few dates and start to get some experience.
Yeah.
And it's not that difficult to do. 2 weeks into the course, 2 weeks into the course, he got his first girlfriend. He'd never had a girlfriend. 2 weeks in, he got his very first girlfriend, and she matched about 80% of his list. Now, what's really, really important is that you differentiate dating and manifesting your soulmate, because this guy, he'd never ever been in a relationship. I just said, man, you know, just find somebody that's somewhat like what you'd like. And you never know, you may go on a date with somebody who's maybe not your 100% your ideal, but maybe they're 80. And you just say, this is just a date. This is no expectation. We're going with the flow. We're just going to have some conversation. We'll see what comes of this. No attachment, no nothing. Yeah. And you may find there's something that you didn't know you really liked, or you may find, oh, I definitely don't like that. It's just experience. So I advised him, man, just put yourself out there. Make the intention. You don't even have to know how, but make the intention that this week, I'm just going to go on a date just for fun. Yeah. And sure enough, he manifested somebody in his world that they went on a first date. He was like, I kind of like this girl. Went on a second date. I kind of like this girl. Went on a third date. I think I want this girl to be my girlfriend. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. Now, is he ready to say that that's his soulmate? No, that's his first ever girlfriend. But here's the thing. What he's doing is he's playing within the range of something that he would like. He's not lowering his standards to where he's saying, you know, I'm just going to just accept the next thing that walks my way. Yeah. He's valuing and loving himself by saying, I have a specific thing that I'm looking for and I'm not willing to settle, but I'm not going to be so uptight that unless it's 10 out of like literally 100%, this person is the most beautiful, drop dead, sexy supermodel I've ever seen in my entire life. If that's the first person that crosses your path and you end up with them, more power to you. Yeah. But what's really valuable is that you get a little bit of experience under your belt before you meet that person of your dreams. So you have a little bit more experience of how to navigate conflict, how to communicate, how to continue to discover more about yourself in relationships. What do I like? What do I not like? What are my boundaries? You know, so my advice to anybody who would say they need to lower their standards is, you know, you were made in the image of the Creator and you have the power to create. Put out the intention that this week, after I make my list of who I want to manifest, I'm going to just manifest somebody that would be ideal. I'm not saying like they got to be literally 51 out of 51 points, that like 10 out of 10. But if they are, more power to me. That just means I'm a good manifester. But just somebody that would be ideal.
Yeah.
No expectation. I'm not here because, you know, you might be my soulmate and I'm looking right now. That's the fastest way to get a date, you know, over with. Because if you go into an interaction with so much expectation, so much attachment, unless it goes exactly the way you need it to be, you're going to end up disappointed. You're going to end up upset. Instead, go with the flow.
Yep.
Hey, this may
literally just about to say that.
Yeah.
Literally, like the word flow came to my head, and is like when you're going on these dates and you're working on gaining that experience, because you made a comment, you have to figure out, one, what do you really want? You're never really going to know that until you've experienced it. Right? There's a lot of people, especially in the business world, they think success is these big fancy cars and these big fancy houses. And then they get it and they realize this is really empty. I really don't like this. I don't enjoy this. Why did I ever want this? Right? So you never really know fully what you want until you experience it. When it comes to the soulmate, you know, I think that's really important. You made a very valid point. Go out there, go on some dates, start experiencing things and figure out, do I like this? Do I not like this? What are my boundaries? What do I want? What do I not want? Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. So, and I think it's important too, because it's showing that you value yourself enough to put yourself out there to experience and find out what you do want and that you don't want. Mm-hmm. So be a little selfish in it, right? Value yourself enough to put yourself out there and to go with the flow, with the opportunities and the adventures that come your way. So
yeah,
love that. So we are wrapping up here. We've been going for a good amount of time, which is awesome. So Jacob, what is one last piece of advice that you would love to give everybody that is watching on Facebook Live and then listening to this on the podcast?
My last piece of advice would be, if you closed your eyes and you felt your heart and you connected with your soulmate, they are actually much closer than you imagine. And life is too precious to settle for someone that doesn't absolutely drive you crazy, that doesn't make you excited to wake up in the morning, that doesn't completely love you and support you and your dreams and goals and passions, that's there for you unconditionally, that's there for you no matter what. Life is too short to not experience that most beautiful treasure that we've all been given the opportunity to experience. But so many people associate so much pain with relationships that they stop putting themselves out there, they stop trying, and they settle for what is comfortable, not what really excites them, not what's really awakening their soul, but something that they settle for because they would like to not experience pain that they may have experienced in past relationships. You've got to make a commitment that that person is 100% out there, and you are going to become the person necessary in order to manifest them. But I actually want to give everybody a gift on here listening today to help you move in the right direction. So you must design that person specifically. You must know exactly who they are. You must literally have every box checked. And then when you meet that person, you're going to know, this is my person. When I met my wife, she literally, and I literally went back and checked, she matched 48 out of 51 things. And at the end of my list, I wrote, this or something better, because I have an opinion, I have a perception, but my higher self, my connection with God, my connection with the universe knows what is absolutely best and most perfect for me. And God delivered something to me so much more beautiful, so much more perfect, someone so much more magical than I could ever imagine. And that is my amazing wife. And life is always going to be great. Life is a beautiful thing. But you start living life on a whole new level when you're with your twin soul, when you're with your soulmate, with the person that was literally handcrafted for you as a gift on this treasure hunt that we are all on here on earth. And if you can follow the process of doing what's necessary to manifest your soulmate, you can have that dream relationship in your reality. So what I would like to gift everybody is the first step in manifesting your soulmate. We have a guide put together that walks you through the process, that gives you specific step-by-step instructions. There's even, a sheet that we give you that asks you specific prompting questions to take you through each category: mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, relationally, socially, financially, impactfully. What are our families like together? What are our dreams? What do we do? What is our passion? Do you want to be a power couple? How do they complement your strengths? How do they build you up? How do you completely, perfectly fit as a complement to their strengths? How are you two going to bless and impact the world together? So it's the Soulmate Community's gift to you. If you just go to thesoulmatecommunity.com and you just click on free gifts, we have the free Design Your Soulmate guide. And it's actually the entire first lesson of the Manifesting Your Soulmate experience. That is a $2,000 course that we offer, but we wanted to gift everybody listening in the Today's Today community the guide for free, and design your soulmate. See what happens. As soon as I designed my soulmate, we met literally 2 days later. So I'm excited to see what kind of magic happens in your world by creating that list.
Yeah, I'm super, super excited about that. And for everybody that's watching this on Facebook right now that wants access to that guide, if you just comment info on the live stream right now, after this is done, I'll go find that PDF or that document, that link, and I will tag you in that link. And I'll reply to your comment with that link, so that way it is easy access for you. And Jacob, thank you so much for offering that out to the community. One thing that I definitely want to leave everybody with is your soulmate was a gift, or is a gift from God. So don't forget that he has that special person out there for you, and it is, like Jacob said, it is way more magical than he could have ever dreamed, and that is out there for every single one of us. So Jacob, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast and the Facebook Live. It has been an absolute pleasure. Y'all go on in the comment section if you got some value from this, if you laughed a little bit, go on and let us know in the comment section. We would love to have a conversation with you there in the comments. But Jacob, like I said, thank you so much for coming on. If y'all haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. And then we'll be looking to have more conversations soon. Yeah, what's that, Jacob?
I just wanted to leave everybody with this. Be kind to yourself. You've grown so much. You've gotten so much better than you used to be. You don't give yourself credit enough for what you're doing. The fact that you even listen to this podcast lets me know that you're in the top 10% of people in the world, because you're actually putting yourself out there, you're being vulnerable, and you're willing to grow. But I want you to start becoming your own soulmate first. Become your own soulmate first. Treat yourself well. Set boundaries. Do things that make you feel loved. My wife decided that 6 months before she met me, she was tired of, bouncing around from, unfulfilling relationship to unfulfilling relationship and not taking time in between to be with herself. And she decided, you know what? I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to love myself.
Yeah.
She engaged herself. She put an engagement ring on her finger, and she took herself out on dates every single week. And 6 months later, after she had become her own soulmate first, she was wearing a real engagement ring from me, her soulmate. So you got to love yourself. Treat yourself well. You're more beautiful, powerful, and amazing than you ever give yourself credit for. And you have no idea how many people are inspired by you.
Yeah. I love that. Love that. Absolutely great advice. Y'all, if you gain some value from this, go on and drop some hearts on the Facebook Live. If y'all are listening to this on the podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you go over to iTunes or wherever you're listening to this podcast. Leave a 5-star review. That absolutely helps us grow and reach more people and expand the mission of the Today's the Day community, which is helping every single individual liberate the greatness that is already within them. So thank y'all so much. We hope that y'all have a fantastic night or day or morning whenever you're watching this or listening to it, and we will talk to y'all soon.